Whew. What's everybody? How y'all doing?
Whew.
Today's gonna be an interesting episode.
Mm-hmm.
We got some stuff to say. At least I should say. Let me speak for myself. I got some stuff to say to get off of my chest. It might upset a few people, but I'm at the point where I don't care. I'm at that level. My don't care button is broke. My care button is broken. Snapped in half. Sniggity snap. How you two doing?
I'm doing great. Just living a dream. The American dream, the American nightmare right now.
I feel like a damn nightmare right now.
Feels like a nightmare.
Man. All right, people in the audience, y'all tell me.
Timeline.
Y'all tell us, people in the audience, how y'all feeling about what just took place in the last couple of days? Would love to hear what you think about what's going down. In case you didn't hear, if you didn't hear what's going down and you're confused, please let us know. Okay, at least one person.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of fishy.
I'm gonna say some stuff today. They're gonna definitely have the FBI knocking on my door, and I hope they come knocking at my door so I can ask you directly what the hell y'all doing. Mm-hmm. Like for real. I hope you come. I hope after today you come knocking at my door. Y'all know where I'm at. When I'm done saying what I gotta say about Patel and what I'm done saying about Bongino and what I'm done talking about Pam Bondi, y'all gonna want to come find me. The opinions expressed by me are mine only. They are not shared by Mike or Lee. They're mine. Anybody watching in the future, these are not their views. That's why we are the Savage Patriots, but individually, we have our own viewpoints.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let y'all go first. Go ahead, bro. You first, and then Lee, and then I'm going to finish y'all. That way they can't taint what you say or what I say.
So what do I think about this whole Epstein list thing?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're hiding something. I don't know what it is, but I think it's a lot deeper than what we think they're hiding. Now, they did say that, Epstein didn't have any blackmail tapes or whatever of important people. Maybe he doesn't have blackmail tapes, but they do have tapes of Epstein and the children and all this other stuff, but he's gone. So I don't know why they would tell us for how long now that there was a list and, they're looking at the list and the list is going to be available. Then they put on that big spectacle with all the creators holding up these books of the so-called list. And we looked at it was nothing more than a bunch of flight logs with a bunch of redacted information. So I'm just really confused. Why would you hype people up all this time just to say there was never a list? Don't get it.
That.
Yes.
I'm with you, Cajun. I'm with you on that one 100%. And if he don't, he's going to end up losing a lot more than credibility with this particular case. Mm-hmm. He's going to end up losing this whole movement he's got going. And regardless of how much good he does, it will be ineffective because, look, I understand it's his last term and he may not care, but he better care because after he's out, there's going to be an effect on him regardless of whether he thinks so or not. Yeah. Anyway, Lee?
Yeah, so I'm just gravely disappointed in three people. Well, Bondi, I don't even know who she is. Where did she come from? What's her record? What's her qualifications for being AG? So for her to have that position to say what she said and then come back and say, oh, you know what? It's not. That's one thing. If she's feigning ignorance because of national security, okay, fine. Okay, cool. But Patel and Bongino, that to me is, you go back to when Epstein removed himself. There was no self-removal from this mortal coil. We've seen video evidence of this. We've connected the dots. And for Bongino to come back and say, oh yeah, no, he deleted himself. That to me it's probably the greatest. That to me is a very deep betrayal. Like I feel betrayed by a guy who people have said is credible. People who have said that he was on it, he's been in on it, and he's done all that he could for it. But then for him to spit in my face, I guess you could say, by plausible deniability to agree with the wider narrative is a betrayal. I feel betrayed.
As we should, because we was. How we know? Let's look at her letter. This is from February. Okay. And this is technically their letter. Okay. Because you see right there, Pamela Benandi, Director Kash Patel. See there? Dear Director Patel. I'm going to call him Patel from now on. He's no longer Patel. Before you came into office, I requested a full and complete I requested the full and complete files related to Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily of flight logs, Epstein's list of clients, and a list of victims, names, and phone numbers. Did that say what I think it just said? Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Names and phone numbers.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
I repeatedly questioned whether this was a full set of documents responsive to my request, and was repeatedly assured by the FBI that we had received a full set of documents. Late yesterday, I learned from a source that the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents related to the investigation and indictment of Epstein. Despite my repeated request, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised as I was to learn this new information. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio, video recordings, materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients. Regardless of how such information was obtained. There will be no withholdings or limitations to my or your access. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the privacy of the victims and in accordance with law, as I have done my entire career as a prosecutor. I'm also directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver to me a comprehensive report to your findings and propose personnel action within 14 days. I appreciate your immediate attention to this important matter. I know that we are both committed to transparency for the American people, and I look forward to continuing to work with you to serve our president and our country.
So I have a question. Like, I get New York's FBI office is corrupt as junk. I mean, you had the Attorney General Lazy-eyed Letitia, as part of the whole New York scheme. But between February and now, you mean to tell me that Kash Patel has not gone through with a fine-tooth comb and got rid of everybody from that office to be able to then install people that are loyal and who are committed to doing their job, to then turn over all the stuff? I'm confused.
That's what we're supposed to believe. Let her say it.
Get it out to the American people, because the American people have a right to know, not only on that, but on Kennedy, on Martin Luther King, on all of these cases that the Biden administration has just sat on for all these years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really, it's not sad. It's infuriating that these people thought that they could sit on this information, but they can't. It's a new day, and we believe in transparency, and it's going to come out.
Oh,
it's going to come out.
Transparency. So, I mean, so they're telling us with a straight face that there was absolutely nothing on those lists. Nothing. There's nothing. There's not one name. There's no name. Zero. Not one person. There's nothing. That's what they're telling us.
You see, what had happened was they trafficked to entities, not people, spirits. And so, so you can't really hold a spirit, to punishment. They're just floating around. Gotta call the Ghostbusters. But if I were to go based on her words, she said that there were. She said it, not us. She did. So if she says there are people, where are the people? If what's her name, Giuffre, mentioned people like Prince Andrew, she did in the court case mention him as being there. There are photos of him and her with Ghislaine. How was he not brought, I don't know, what's the word, down? And how come we don't have any reference to him in the paperwork? What's up with that?
And that's what I'm saying. It didn't Cash Patel or one of them come out and say one time that there are names on there, and due to national security, we have to go through the list pretty much to make sure certain names don't get released. I remember him saying that. So he pretty much told us, yes, I saw it. There are people on there, but we can't release it due to national security. Do you guys remember that, or am I crazy?
I remember.
Okay.
But that's different. What he meant by names were, he meant inferences to names or illusion to names. They alluded to. It wasn't really names. It was something, else. Now, they did say they have footage of the room that Mr. Epstein was in, at least location-wise. And this is it here. The problem is, if you look at the bottom, there's a timestamp of 11:58:56. Okay, 11:58:56 p.m. So it's 11:58, and it's about to clock over into 11:59. It's only about 4 seconds away. Okay, so let's see what happens when the video plays. No. Go back again. 58, 59. Okay, no. Hold on. 58, 59.
Now, I'm no math Asian, but 11:58, 59, 11:58, 58, 11:59, 59
to 12.
It should. Again, I'm not a math Asian, but something doesn't add up.
Minutes no the minutes don't add up.
The clock, what type of clock are they using?
Okay, so hear me out. If there are timestamps missing from the tape, which is supposed to be highly secure, just hear me out.
2 hours worth.
Let's just say, I think it was 12 is what that had said.
It should have.
But so hear me out. If you're telling me that there are minutes missing from the tape, we're just going to focus on the tape. Just logically thinking, people, if there are minutes missing from the tape, would you ascribe that to just, oh well, or would you be like, what the hell? As the person that's supposed to be in charge of a high security, and I'll ask Bro this question because he's been in facilities like this. So let me ask you the protocol, Mr. Brokich. If you were to be coming before a tribunal and they play this tape and they ask you, sir, why are there minutes missing from this tape? Can you please explain why there's no recordings from this time to that time? If you cannot give a proper answer, what happens to you?
I can be charged for it, or who's ever in charge of the footage, So who's ever controlling the footage usually it's in a main room somewhere. They control the footage. So whoever had control of that footage and they had a chain of custody, someone within there can be charged with, tampering with evidence.
Okay. So would it raise a red flag to you if that time was missing?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You wouldn't be like, well, it's just missing.
Oh yeah, it was just, the tape skipped. Internet. It was the internet. It was the internet. Wait. But go ahead. I sent you another picture in the chat. And so that room right there is what they just put out. But if you look at before when they first talked about Epstein and they showed this photo of his cell and they had the police tape all over it, they showed a different photo.
It's two different doors.
When you look at the photos, there are two different doors. So which one is real? Which one is the truth? It's the first one they showed us? Go ahead, Jay.
Isn't that prison cell area closed circuit TV?
Supposed to be.
Yeah.
For security, so there couldn't have been outside tampering with it.
No, yeah, it is closed circuit. So there's usually like a control room, and each officer at their desk can watch those cameras too. But usually the main control rooms, every floor or however that's set up, has a control room where they can pretty much monitor any area they want. And then you have a main control room that watches the whole jail. So they see every camera just about that they want.
And these control rooms would have dedicated servers specifically assigned for all the data for all the footage. So how does that particular section of that particular prison for that particular time lose 120 minutes worth of security footage?
Well, you see what had happened was, I don't know. I have a theory about the door. Ready for my theory?
Yeah.
The door you're seeing on the left that has a caution tape on it. What that is on the inside of the cell.
Doesn't work like that. And there's only one entrance on these cell doors too. The paint job's different.
Yes, the rock work is different. The brick work is different.
And you know, when I saw the footage on the right, you know, I worked in a jail for 5 years. Every cell door has to have some type of window on it. Because you can't just rely on cameras when you're checking these people. So they're not going to have a closed off door like that, because if the cameras go down, you still have to get a visual on who's in there and what they're doing. So that made no sense. And for them to put that out, I was even looking at it like, how do they have a door where they can't even look inside the cell? You have to be able to visually see inside of it.
Well, obviously they can, because look, the caution tape's over a window.
Well, that one, yes, that one on the left, that's the way it should be. The one on the right, where they said that was the Epstein whatever, and that's supposed to be a cell right there, correct? On the on the left.
I don't even know if we're looking at his cell or we're looking from his cell. I can't tell.
Yeah, there's another video. You'll see some officers walking on that tier right there where those doors are, and they'll go through that door on the right. There's a phone hanging to the right side of that right door. They'll pick it up, they'll talk, then you'll see them walk through the door. So that's like an entrance, exit, or some type of pathway in or out of that pod. But with that door on the left, I don't know what the heck that is. Because that's how the door on the left of that right door, I don't know what that is, but that door on the left side picture, that's the way it's supposed to look. Most cells.
Now you can tell me, and I can believe it, if the doors are open to each other, I could see why the handles are on the opposite ends, because you have the railing. But I would have thought that you would have the doors all open the same direction, including to the railing, so they don't jump off the railing.
Yeah, and yeah, I can't remember how the doors open.
So this might be a Photoshop thing. This might be an edited video.
And also, wasn't Jeffrey Epstein on Suicide Watch?
And isolation, yes, he wouldn't be around this kind of thing.
Yeah, isolation, suicide watch. So the protocol for isolation, any type of level of threat to harm themselves or harm others, they're levels. So if somebody that's on suicide watch would not be on an upper tier like that at all, 0. They would not even be up there in any way, shape, or form. So that's an upper tier. You'll see him come up the stairs. So Epstein, why would he be in that cell if he was on some type of watch? Even for him being a high profile guy, he wouldn't be in general population. That looked like general population to me. He would have to be in somewhere else like medical in a padded cell or somewhere if he was on suicide watch.
I'm with you, Daniel.
I don't know, man. It makes no sense.
I'm with you on that one. It does feel like the Truman Show. We're gonna listen to the man, the myth, the legend himself, because we all know he's a very smart and very eloquent person, and smarty. Tell us, Epstein, what do you think?
Yes. Would you please state your full name?
I'm Jeffrey Edward Epstein, and my residence address is 6100 Red Hook Boulevard in Virgin Islands.
Do you maintain any other residences presently?
I have vacation homes in New Mexico, Palm Beach, New York, and Paris.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes.
What was the crime of which you were convicted?
Two counts, one soliciting prostitution and procuring a minor for prostitution.
Did you in fact commit those acts?
I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution?
Fifth Amendment.
Same answer.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution in the state of Florida?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution in the Virgin Islands?
Same answer.
That is, you are invoking your Fifth Amendment.
Yes, right. Yes, Mr. Sproul.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New York?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New Mexico?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in Paris?
Same answer.
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution anywhere at any time?
Again, I'm going to assert my right.
Did you ever?
We're going to go over everything.
So you are terminating the deposition at this time?
Recess of the deposition. What?
Yeah. Fifth Amendment right. That would be a yes. He did, by the way.
Yep.
An innocent person would not be fifting their amendments. They'd be answering the question. And if Jeffrey Epstein is no longer with us, good riddance to that piece of crap. And if he is still with us, I hope that is no longer the case soon, because he's a piece of crap. Just want people to know, we're not doing this to defend nobody. This is not an Epstein defense case. But if what they're trying to put on us to say there is no client list, then Jeffrey Epstein would have been one of the most prolific, non-prolific persons ever to exist. Never have I seen somebody have so many people that he gets things from, but never gives them anything in return. I mean, the flight log alone, unless you ran like your own airport, it seems an awful, what's the word? Interesting thing to keep flying people to your island just to hang out with you so rapidly and often. It just didn't seem like there was anything that you weren't, I like Diddy, you weren't known for parties. Was he known for parties? He wasn't known for parties. Okay, so what were they coming there for?
Well, he wasn't known for parties the same way Diddy was known for parties.
Yeah. His parties are more like Eyes Wide Shut.
So would they be more soirees?
Yeah, more like Eyes Wide Shut. Everybody probably wore a mask and did weird stuff. That's
College
the
did you
party.
attend? Cooper Union.
And did you get a degree from Cooper Union?
No, sir.
How many years were you in college?
I believe 2.
What'd you study?
Physics.
Well, isn't it true that you were a teacher at the Dalton School in New York after college? It's just unheard of. It's just an unbelievable scheme to have kept going for that long of a period of time. Do you consider yourself to be bisexual? No. In any event, you did develop a sexual relationship with Leslie Wexner at some point in time. Is that true?
No.
Mr. Epstein, how long have you been sexually attracted to underage minor females?
Objection. Harassing. Argumentative. Are you kidding?
I mean, I don't feel like I'm divulging any secrets here, right?
Move to strike.
Mr. Epstein, were you sexually abused as a minor?
Again?
Were you sexually abused as a minor?
You know, I'd like to respond to all your, if any, questions seem to be relevant, but I would like to respond to any relevant question at this time. However, my attorneys have counseled me that I cannot provide answers to the questions relevant to this lawsuit today. I must accept their advice or risk losing my Sixth Amendment right to effective representation. Accordingly, then, I assert my Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment right to the United States Constitution.
Yes, he was abused as a child. No, it does not give him an excuse to abuse children after. That is not an excuse to do what you did, sir. I don't care how badly you were abused. The children didn't do you anything. Okay? Anyway, let's bring this one up here. Make sure this is the one I want. Yes.
Long of a period of time. Do you consider yourself to be bisexual? No. In any
Just
event,
the longer one. Is there another one?
I think that was it, wasn't it?
329. No, this is a different one. Okay, good.
Okay.
develop a sexual relationship with Leslie Wexner at some point in time. Is that true? No. Mr. Epstein, how long have you been sexually attracted to underage minor females?
Objection, harassing, argumentative.
Let me see if I can find a spot.
I mean, I don't feel like I'm divulging.
It's a spot here.
I must accept their advice or
Okay,
risk
this is a
birthdays.
continuation.
A friend
There it
of
is. Good.
sent you 3 12-year-old females for you to sexually abuse on one of your birthdays.
form argumentative, harassing, and irrelevant to this lawsuit. But you're saying it's part of the lawsuit?
Yeah, I'll read it directly.
It was Jeffrey's birthday one.
On one of defendant Epstein's birthdays, a friend of defendant Epstein sent him 3 12-year-old girls from France who spoke no English for defendant to sexually exploit and abuse. After doing so, they were sent back to France the next day. Isn't that true?
Once again, I'm going to move to strike. Irrelevant, argumentative, harassing. I would like to answer that question. I really would. However, today, my attorneys have told me I have to assert my 5th Amendment, 6th Amendment, and 14th Amendment rights of the U.S. Constitution.
You're invoking your 5th Amendment rights to each of these questions because you know that your answers will incriminate you and you feel that it will result in you being prosecuted for these crimes. Isn't that right?
Objection, argumentative, harassing, and calls for a legal conclusion. No, in fact, the Supreme Court recently said that the 5th Amendment right is there to protect the innocent. So that's the way I'd like to answer that.
Are you released from jail at some time? Do you have to report back to jail on a daily basis?
Yes, I report back to jail at 8 p.m.
Every single day?
Yes, sir.
And is it 7 days a week that you're out on work release?
No, sir.
How many days a week are you out on work release?
6.
And of those 6 days, how many hours per day are you out on work release?
12.
That given the matter now pending should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yeah. But there's nothing. Understand that there's no list. The Giuffre got sold to nobody, even though she testified to the contrary. The people that she did get trafficked to, you're not going to hear about them because more than likely it was somebody on the level of Mr. What's his name? Prince Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
If not at the Prince level, it'll be at all the rest of the artists that went over to the island. You'll never hear about them. Yeah. Even if Epstein didn't have his own list, videotape that you said you got when you raided the island would have. I didn't say it. They did. They said they found the tapes. Didn't they say that when they first raided his compound?
Yep. They sure did. And they did say that some of the stuff on the tapes were so heinous that they couldn't even watch it or something like that. They watched some of them and they just couldn't. They were so bad. That's what they told us.
Apparently that's changed. He was in prison for, minor abuse.
So what I don't get is the work release. What is that? I mean, I know what it is, but
so when he got his arrest back in 2005, and they sentenced him in 6, the deal he made through Dershowitz and a couple of other lawyers was that he would be released to a working status, but home confinement, so pretty much house arrest for his sentencing. But with his special deal, he could engage with life as he would normally if he wasn't under house arrest, except that he would be monitored to and from and then to his house. So he pretty much lived free without being free for doing what he did. So I'm baffled by Cash and Bondi. And I will say my controversial part now. They should both be replaced and discharged with dishonor, not with any kind of with prejudice. Full, just get rid of them. No pension, no nothing. Just get rid of them. For all the talk that they talked about information that they said they heard from third persons and second, especially Bongino, get rid of him too. Put him back on his podcast. He was one of the more vocal ones about things. Get rid of him. I would almost suggest we put somebody who has not been in government at all in those positions. Just a regular Joe Schmo cop, one that worked the beat for a long time. Put him in there. Let him see it, and just let him have a loose cannon mouth and say what he's got to say. For as much of a spine that Patel had when it came to members of Congress and the House, if you're listening to this, Mr. Patel, you're a gutless, shiftless, worthless, brown person with no intelligence when it comes to what you are doing, and you are intentionally doing this. So somebody must have paid your ignorant behind off, or you never had any intentions of doing what you said you were doing. As for you, Mr. Bongino, maybe the cancer treatment went to your brain and you did not actually get out of it unscathed, or you yourself was paid too. Miss Bondi, either you have become mentally retarded in your time as the head honcho over there, or you yourself also have been paid. In either case, my next statement is to Mr. Trump, you better get ahead of this. Because I'm telling you now, if you just allow this to just fall off, there are going to be people who are going to remember this, regardless of how much good you do the economy. You could give me a stimulus check of $5 million. I'd thank you for it, but it still wouldn't matter. You could rectify the whole economy, reduce the price of eggs, and do all the good stuff you said you're going. Well, thank you for that. Still won't pull you from under the bus. What transpired with these people when you had them come forward and tell us that they're going to be working on a transparency level did not happen. And she said specifically that you told her to do this. So if she is lying on you, you need to find your 2016 behind and come forward and say something. That's the Trump I want to see, is 2016 addressing this. I don't want 2024 Trump. I don't want 2020 Trump. I need 2016. In fact, give me 2015 campaigning Trump to deal with this. That's who I want to see. I want to see that visceral, angry, pissed off, chewing everybody a brand new one Trump to come and address this. Because there is no way, absolutely no way, you can tell me that this has no clientele to it and there's nothing else to see here. I feel like Leslie Nielsen. Move on, there's nothing to see here. Please move along. And there's a big flaming fire of a building, all kinds of buildings blowing up in the back. You got
and it's weird how they did it. They was like, oh no, there's nothing to be found, and Epstein did kill himself. Okay, moving on to the next one. It's almost like they just threw it out there and they're just like, okay, we're moving on. Forget it. It's over. No, it's not over. As Marlon stated, we still don't believe Epstein killed himself, because for people that worked in the jail system, have been corrections officers, have been prison guards, understand that it doesn't work like that. We understand and we know that when someone is on type of suicide watch, there's cameras in that room and you're doing 15-minute checks every 15 minutes, depending on their level. It could be up to 30. So you're telling me that he just killed himself and you guys just happen to walk on him 10 minutes later and just like, oh yeah, he's dead. No, it doesn't work like that. If you're doing your jobs, you would have saw it. Number two, if he's on suicide watch, he wouldn't have had a blanket. He wouldn't have had all that extra stuff in the room with him. Any type of suicide watch, you get a quilt and you're in a padded room of some sort, or you sleep on a mattress, but you don't have anything in the room that could possibly, cause you to harm yourself. It makes no sense. And then Cash Patel, I remember in 2023 when he was like, something about the Epstein list came out, and he's like, when are you going to release it? Day one. Didn't he say that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he said day one. Dan Bongino, loud and proud about Epstein and all this other stuff. He gets up there in front of the camera with a straight face talking about, yeah, he did kill himself.
That's what Bongino said. He said he's seen he's seen the video and he didn't kill himself. I've seen all the files. He didn't kill himself. Mm-hmm. But you also said there were missing portions, so you couldn't say you saw it all that he didn't kill himself because you have no tangible proof that he did, because it's missing. You put it out that it's missing. Mm-hmm. Now, another reminder of back in 4 months ago, this is what she said.
I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
The Trump administration appears to have released files relating to disgraced financier and sexual abuser Jeffrey Epstein, though only to an exclusive group of influencers. Attorney General Pam Bondi accused the FBI of withholding thousands of pages of the Epstein files from her. Bondi wrote in a letter to FBI Director Kash Patel that the New York office had provided Bondi with 200 pages of Epstein's related documents. The Attorney General demanded Patel provide her with the, quote, full and complete Epstein files by February 28th. The FBI did not respond to a request for comment about Bondi's letter. Conservative political commentators were spotted at the White House holding...
Now look at that.
...binders labeled the Epstein files.
So what exactly did you hand them, Pam? What did you give them? And what did you mean by you're going to see some Epstein stuff? What exactly? Because you said there's nothing, right? So what did you release? If you had nothing to release, how did you manage to release something you didn't have?
Exactly.
I'm just confused. And why only the spit? I think that was DC Drano, wasn't it? That guy's. I think that's DC Drano.
Yeah.
Why them? Why them? I will say this about DC Drano. He's not the most logically thinking human being on Twitter. He's pretty much a mouthpiece, and I have seen that much on his feed. So did you invite them in just to try and give everybody a hype, even though some of us, now I don't think they remember this, but understand this: the people that follow the Epstein thing and are requiring information about it are not the dummies here. Mm-hmm. We can smell BS from a mile away, and we're also not going to be the ones to fall. We're not like the other people that are just fly-by-night Epstein followers. We have been tracking this man for a long time. We dive in, we look and cross-reference stuff that we could probably work in your department and do a better job than half the retards you got working for you. And we're not even as qualified as those people. Okay? So all I'm saying is, how are you going to pass this off and let us just believe nothing? Right. Yes, there were children involved. That's what they said, didn't they?
Yep. And they got nothing.
Let me see if I find it here, because I want to make sure I keep your guys' information about it. I'm looking for a while back here. Let's see. Okay, let's see what she says if this is the one. Here we go. Now listen, everybody. Listen. This is not me saying it. Okay.
Importantly, to save lives.
Thank you. And my only other question for you is, so over the weekend, President Trump posted Truth Social a video highlighting what most people call the Clinton body count, which is the strange number of suicides that seem to happen in Clinton circles. I have a headline here from the Washington Post that said, Trump peddles false conspiracy theories tying the Clintons to several deaths. So I just wanted to highlight real quick, this wasn't in Trump's video, but this is from the Arkansas Times. And it's the death of Mark Middleton, who was a former Clinton White House aide, who was found dead on a Clinton Foundation property. And I'll just quote from the Arkansas Times. Middleton apparently shot himself in the chest with a shotgun and also hung himself from a tree with an extension cord. So I have no idea how somebody commits suicide that way, but if the Washington Post is here, maybe you can enlighten us as to how that was actually a suicide. So anyways, that's just a lead into my question about the most famous Clinton-related suicide, which is that of Jeffrey Epstein. There's still a lot of questions around that case. You've released phase 1 of the Epstein files. What was missing from that is any connection to his ties to intelligence agencies, and that's really the whole story, that not just trafficking young girls, but doing it on behalf of intelligence agencies, and even potentially as part of a blackmail ring with potential ties to the Israeli government. So for phase 2, when can we expect it? Will it have information pertaining to those aspects of the Epstein case?
I know the Attorney General has committed to releasing those files. I would defer you to the Department of Justice on her timeline, but when she has made a promise in the past, she has kept it, and I'm certain that she will in this case.
Yeah, it's a slap in the face. Muted.
Okay, so if you say she keeps her word and she didn't, what do you anticipate our reaction is going to be? Just throwing that out there for you. What do you expect us to do about it? Like, how should we take that particular statement and superimpose it on top of what she did now and assume to go forward? I will tell you this. She best not show her face in public for a long time. I'm just telling you now. She better not step up to no podium to talk about anything in public. You know why? Because she is going to be absolutely railroaded out of town. No one's going to want to hear unless she has a look. She better have the best excuse. Look, man, she better have a good answer. Like she better. Otherwise, there's no public forum she can go to that she will not get heckled.
I think she's just probably going to go quiet for a few days. All of them will go a little silent. Something big will happen within the next few days. And then, you know, like they always do, it'll be the next shiny object, you know, and a lot of people are going to forget that this happened because they're just trying to throw it away. So they'll just have another shiny object pop up, another big deal, and everyone will forget about it. But as Marlon stated a few minutes ago, we're not going to forget. We're not going to forget. Here's Carolina. Yeah, this is her right here with Peter Doshi. I love Peter Doshi. He's a good dude. I like it.
The client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk.
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview with your network on Fox News.
Go
ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that.
No.
But again,
that's not what she said. The question was clients. She said it's sitting on her desk. If she didn't mean clients, she'd have said, well, I don't have clients. What I have is the full document, and I'm going to go through that to see if there's anything like clients on this. That's what she said. But the reason she didn't answer it the way she should have answered it, if it was true, is because she knows the hype of getting people involved in this whole idea of who the clients were. She knows that. That's why she left it so open-ended. But she lied. She lied. Straight up, unequal. And look, I don't give a damn who they're protecting. I really don't. I do not care who they protect. That is not my concern. I'm concerned that you said one thing and didn't fulfill it. So it don't matter who you're protecting, because whoever it is, they're now protected. It could be Israel. It could be Afghanistan. It could be the prince, the queen. I don't give a damn who it is, but it was obviously enough for you to protect them.
It would have been best for them not to even run on that, not to even mention it, not even talk about it. Just run your campaign, get in there, and don't even mention it. But they ran on this, and this is why people were so excited to have Patel, Bongino, Pam Bondi. They were so excited to get these people in there because this is what everyone wanted. This is more of the reasons why people voted for Trump. This is one of the main reasons, in my opinion.
That I don't believe. I don't think they're not releasing it because it implicates Israel. Here is why. If it was a matter of Israel, what would have happened is during the Biden administration, it would have been released. Because if you remember, the majority of the people on the left were pro one side. And what side was that? It wasn't Israel. Even though they were sending money to Israel, they were not, with America that particular time, they were not pro-Israel. So that I would have taken that, and I'm not saying that Israel is not is innocent, and I'm going to speak for Netanyahu in specifically. I wouldn't say that he has his hands innocent at all in it. I'm not saying that at all. However, they have been implicated in child trafficking since Barack Obama's days. That's nothing new. Candace didn't break something groundbreaking. They've been at the top of the child trafficking hub since before Barack Obama took office, and that was in 2008. That there have been talks about trafficking taking place in Israel and Ukraine since before Barack, for crying out loud. That ain't breaking news. She didn't crack some case. We talked about that crap, for crying out loud. So no, that's nothing new. That is nothing new. So I can't chalk it up to that, because then it would have at least been released. Again, the kinds of people that have to be involved in this, I am 100% sure there is a names out there, and one regime after the other have people involved in it that they have to keep protected. And since they both differ on the Israel thing, I can't chalk it up to Israel trying to keep it quiet. I'm not saying they're not involved. I just can't see them just being the ones alone to keep it quiet.
Do you think, though, that if the U.S. implicates and releases it, it could spread, start a war?
No, not over that. Not over that.
That's a theory that's been floating too.
Yeah, I don't look, if that was the case, it would have kicked off forever ago. It would have. You know when it would have kicked off? In 2016. Because here's a case in point. Suppose that Israel was the hub, and they were a very big hub for child trafficking. Let's say that's what the case is. Then you have a man coming in 2016 saying that he's coming in to do a whole bunch of stuff about child trafficking. The first thing I'd want to have happen is a war between Israel and everybody else. Why? Because in a war that would take off, that would quickly get thrown to the side. That would be the best distraction, is a war. Right? And not just any war, it has to be a big one. I would have done that under Trump, not under Biden. The war between Israel and Iran and Gaza is one that's been waging for forever. So I can't even say that that would be a good reason to do it. But if I'm trying to put the blame or a logical answer that war is going to kick off between the United States and Israel over the Epstein files, no. Unless you can prove to me that, and this is the only way I can see it kicking off war, a current sitting member, a more recent president, or multiple people within there, the cabinet and the Senate and the House, if you can show me that they were involved in it somehow, then I could see it possibly kicking off. But then again, if they're involved, why would they go to war with Israel when Israel is the hub? You see what I'm saying? The war wouldn't kick off because that would be their ally in this war. And they wouldn't go after Ukraine either. That's why they've been funding Ukraine, because Ukraine's also a secondary hub. So even in then, I couldn't see you going to war over Epstein. The only thing I could see you doing is starting civil unrest in the United States, and that's what's happening now, is civil unrest in the United States. That would be the better distraction, is to kick off war here between left and right, and that's been kicking off.
And fake weather patterns, floods, earthquakes, stuff like that. Keep us distracted. Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't understand where the people that spike this particular idea of the war is that they already have an idea of wanting war with Israel. So that's not even a concern of mine. My only concern is with this particular topic, they cannot kick off a fighting situation with somebody who might be involved in it, because that would be antithetical to their hiding regime. Biting the hand that feeds you, in other words. Because if you were to believe what was going on in the hubs of, the center of Israel, especially Jerusalem, that there is a high trafficking scheme going on there, Israel would be the last place the government would want to go to war with, because that's where all their stuff is coming from. You also wouldn't necessarily try to intervene in the war between them and Gaza, because that's what Israel wants, right? So that's why they never intervene in the war. Now, Trump coming in, trying to stop the war between Iran and Israel, proves to me that he didn't have at least a hand in that, which is why I'm telling him he needs to come forward and say something, because his two people that he appointed are screwing things up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like mad screwing things up. If you want to keep the American people on your side, bro, you got to get rid of those two retards. You really do. For as brave as they might have been for their signing in and swearing and all that stuff, it was a ruse. It was a ruse. If you were, okay, look, Patel and Bondi, if you were sure that nobody was on it, you should have never said it.
Yep.
But you've been talking that BS for years now. You've been saying that there's going to be head rolling. That's what you said.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden I'm supposed to just assume there's not even tapes of people. You said there were tapes. The government said there were tapes. Everybody thought there was tapes. You said you took tapes from there. You said you saw tapes of kids. Bongino said that. Patel saw that. And all of a sudden, the kids were just getting abused by themselves? The ghosts? What? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
And before people start saying, "Oh, they're not releasing it because there's a possibility that Trump is on it." Again, Marlon said it. We've said it before on his podcast. If Trump was on those tapes, and if Trump was on Epstein Island, the Democrats would have jumped on that to release it, but they didn't. That would have been done a long time ago. So there's something else going on that's a lot deeper than Trump, and I think a lot of it has to do with the deep state.
Globally,
the deep state's very powerful. Yep, the global deep state. They're very powerful, man.
Right.
Don't look at them a bunch of peons. These people have a lot of power. So,
in either case, yes, I fully agree with everybody in the chat that this is a major betrayal. But we can't. I think we kind of saw this on the wall that they weren't going to when they first mentioned it, and what they gave out those binders. Mm-hmm. We kind of thought they weren't going to do it. I think we even said it when they first dropped those files.
Yep.
Not that we weren't hoping they would, because we did hope that we were wrong. Yeah. Who wouldn't want to be wrong about that? But at the same time, if Mr. Trump is not being protected by it, your ass better come say something, bro. Like look, bro, within the next week, you better come out to say something. You have to. Either act like you're mad at them or be mad at them. Something's got to say something. You got to say something. You got to say something. If you don't, I'm telling you now, I'm going to make the prediction. If Trump don't say something about this to the condemnation of what they did, the left will take over before the next election, and you will see America fall.
Yeah,
I'm telling you now. If he doesn't, and this will be his nail in the coffin. I don't care how well you do with the economy. I don't care how well you do with peace overseas. I don't care what you do there. If you do not come out and address this thing that Bondi just did, you are going to see a collapse of America within the next 3 months. You're going to. You're going to be seeing not just any regular rebellion. You're going to see a mad rebellion. And it won't even be because you can't do your job as president. It's because this was a major hinging point on us getting you in there.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't happen, we're going to stop fighting for you. In fact, it's not even that we're going to rebel. We're just going to stop. We're just going to stop. And somebody else going to have to take up the mantle, and no one will. And once that happens, you're going to see the left just take over, and they will not. And we're not even going to stop them. I'm telling you, I'm not going to stop them. They have all the reasons to do it. What do I have to protect you from again? Nothing. This was the last thing we wanted. This was it. But you're going to lose your stronghold. And if you lose your stronghold on this one, you're done.
And the thing is, there was already a divide within the Trump supporter base based off of that Iran, strike they did. You already saw the kind of split within. There were the supporters of it, and there were ones that didn't. So Trump's base is already kind of split. This Right here, you're going to have the ones that are just going to be so upset with them, and you're still going to have the ones that are ride or die, that don't stand on principle. But this has caused a huge divide within his support, and his supporters were like go hard, die hard people that helped get him where he's at. So as you stated, man, he's going to have to come out and address this and tell us what he's going to do about it, because we want it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for you, boss. Yeah, I would choose wisely what your next step is going to be, like for real, because this particular thing is indeed a smack.
Yeah.
The least you could have done was told us a legit names of people who've been on the island. Let us decide if we give them our support, give them our attention. Say they didn't go to jail. Still tell me who they are, because they could be out there, and if they're getting my attentions, I need to not give them my attention. They may not go to jail, but at least I can make them a pariah in everybody else's eyes, and I can say what I need to say about them and ostracize them, because if they are child molesters, we don't want nothing to do with them. Like for real, like listen to me. If you tell me tomorrow that there are 16 names and all these 16 names are big actors or somebody that's in politics, you think I want to pay them any attention? Nope. Do you think I want them in the limelight? No, I want them sequestered away. And if they don't go to jail, I want them to never want to walk the streets clearly anymore without people cussing them out. Yeah. You're a pedophile. You don't deserve peace. Like for real. If you're an unrepentant pedophile, I don't care who you are, you don't deserve a moment's rest until you change your mind and start to turn around. If that don't happen, I'm not giving you no rest. So I need to know who you are.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a slap in the face. I mean, if there's people on that list that are in positions of influence, i.e., lawyers, judges, and all this stuff, and they're in these positions of influence, and they were on this list, they were on that island, but they're sitting in a courtroom prosecuting the same people that did the same thing they did, we have a problem with that. And they need to be exposed, no matter who they are.
Yeah.
Point blank. Period. Point blank. Period. There are a couple of things brewing in the wings, by the way, and we're gonna have a massive what you call it, a pretty big story we're trying to see if we can figure out. And if we find what we're thinking we're gonna find of this individual, I would anticipate there are more people of the government that are like this lady. She said she's an illegal, but she's in the House of Minnesota House of Representatives, which is illegal because she's supposed to be able to vote. If she's illegal, then she can't vote. And so if there are more people like that, that would explain why a lot of the rules have been passing that have been passing. So we're going to be looking into that, see what we can find. And I have a suspicion she's not a one-off. I have a sneaky suspicion that she's not a random person doing it. So that will be Wednesday. Yeah. So we'll see if he says anything between now and Friday. Because I think we might actually, for the first time in a long time, see a riot, not a protest, against President Trump's cabinet if he doesn't say something. And I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be mad. Wouldn't blame him. Okay. You guys have any closing thoughts about this?
It kind of hurts that you were hopeful for these two, and they turn around and do this. That just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Mucho bad taste.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is, keep your head up the best you can, man. I know that sounds cliche, but, we shouldn't harp too much on things outside of our control. Be aware. It's outside of my control. I'm aware. I'm upset, but I'm not going to let that. I'm not going to absorb all that, that energy. Because while they're focusing on this, they got something else going on. It's going to be the next shiny object. You'll see within a few days. The next shiny object to try to get people to forget about this. Focus on that new thing. Be aware of it, but don't forget about this.
Yeah.
Because we want the names. And that's a cliche saying too, but we really want to know the truth.
Right.
Yep. Indeed, Diane, the thick plottings, indeed. I know you said the plot thickens, but I like the thick plot. The thick plottings I know the thickest plotting all day long. Anyway, we'll see you guys Wednesday. I'll catch you guys in the morning. Straight Talk. We'll be talking about this Israel, Palestine, Iran thingy and how that's affecting people who say they believe God and all that stuff. So we'll talk about that tomorrow morning. Yeah. Meantime, in between them, Mr. Lee.
Like, share, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys Wednesday. Peace.
Oh, no, we can't leave yet. I have one more announcement. I just remembered one more thing.
You know, hold on. You know, we got to start over the exit after you.
I know.
Okay.
One more thing. If you guys have not, and because it's been a minute since we reminded people, the merch store. Okay, the plan right now, if you have anything ordered or you plan to order, don't order anything more yet. The plan right now is to change who we're going through for merch because Teespring has been absolutely atrocious in keeping orders on time. So we are in the process. I will be taking down the link connection this weekend. And so we're going to try and put up a brand new type of store that's a little more reliable. So I just wanted to put that bug in your ear if you are planning to order anything from the store because we're sick and tired of Teespring. Okay, cool. Anyway, Mr. Lee.
Now you can like, share, comment, subscribe. We'll see you Wednesday. Peace.
Peace.